professional, bro.
Yeah?
Yeah, because so for every podcast I have the audio file.
Yeah.
And I have the video file. Now, these are pretty expensive cameras, and they do 4K, so it's really, super high def. But when the audio is not super high def.
No.
The audio actually is pretty shit.
I mean, the ones I listened to sounded pretty good.
Right, because where you're listening to the microphone.
Oh, you mean the audio from the... Okay.
The audio that's built into the camera.
Gotcha.
Is fucking trash.
I was going to say, I was like, this sounded like super clear. It's
Yeah,
really
it
nice.
sounds fucking great.
Wow.
So I've had three podcasts prior to this one, and they were all pretty different. And we're still new, and I'm still getting the format of everything, and how I want to format it and how I want to do the talk.
Yeah.
We spoke a little bit about it. The one right before this one, the podcast I had 2 days ago, really was like just kind of threw me for a loop because it was definitely way out of my comfort zone, but it was it was interesting.
Yeah.
I was super uncomfortable the whole time because one, I'm a combat veteran. I already have issues with emotions and showing emotions.
Yeah.
I'm quiet and conserved. You know what I mean? I'm not. I'm very reserved.
Don't open up to people like
not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. So when you have a crying transsexual across from you, it's a little different. And so like normally with the cameras, I'll switch views. Like me and then you and me and then you. But with that one, I was just like, because at some point I'm like,
didn't want to be like showing your face like that.
Yeah, so like I'm like hiding behind the microphone,
Mm-hmm.
I always forget to turn this shit off.
Let me do the same.
Yeah.
I got no signal in here anyway.
So. Yeah. Now let's get the Wi-Fi password, John. That's like they had the Wi-Fi password for everybody, and then the people that own the building, they got like the new, like super fast Wi-Fi, and they're like, don't share the password with anyone.
What, that like 5G or whatever?
Dude, it's super fast. There's like so I have like 5G on my phone, but this one has the number 6 on it.
Really?
Yeah, it's like experimental shit. I've been getting headaches and stuff. It's weird.
Oh.
Yeah.
Remember when they were saying like in the beginning there were all those theories that like COVID was it was like 5G was causing it.
The antennas, the antennas.
They were like the Wi-Fi. I'll tell you what, like I know I'm Illuminati John.
Yes.
But
yes. Hold on, let me tell you. Everybody says Illuminati John, by the way. Yeah. 5 minutes in.
Conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories all around.
I mean, look, I don't buy into all these conspiracy theories about everything, but there was a comedian I watched that I showed Corinne. I was like laughing my head off. I was like, it's so true. He was like, this guy. He was like, I want to talk about conspiracy theories. He's like, there's so many people that say that they're like, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist. And I'm like, no, but like some of them are true. And they're like, what do you mean? He's like, you're telling me that you don't believe any of them? Like, you think the government is just batting 1,000?
Right.
He's like, you never think they lie, right? He's like, think about it. He's like, the government watches over 330 million people. He's like, I got one kid. He's like, I lie to that kid all the time.
Every day.
Yes.
Every day there's something.
For sure. I was like, what? It's so true.
Yeah. No, that is actually that's actually pretty good point. That's actually really good analogy. How you compare that. That's actually very true. Working for the government, I can tell you that nobody knows the full story. Especially none of them.
Yeah.
Know what the full story is.
Everybody has like a part, and then like the truth is somewhere in between.
Yeah.
That's what a good way to think about it, I think.
Absolutely. So so there's a lot of I don't call you Illuminati John because you've got tons of conspiracy theories. I would say if I had to pick your motto would be question everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So But I'm the same way too. I question everything also.
Yeah.
You know, you have really good questions. Your questions are pretty in depth.
Well, I've always
well
been
thought out.
I've always been like that way. Like even in grade school, like my teachers were always just all they ever said in like my report cards was like asks too many questions.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And like my grandfather will always say, he's like, all I am is I'm a devil's advocate. Like if someone has an argument, I have a counter argument. Even if I don't even believe in the counter argument, I'm like, but what about this?
Yeah. Right,
like question everything, right?
Question everything.
That's a really good, like I never even thought about that. That should be my motto.
Yeah, it's like X-Files. You know what I mean? I'm calling you Mulder.
Hey, I'm just saying, like it's plausible.
Well, nowadays I think it's hard not to question everything.
Yeah.
Nowadays, a country went through a pretty weird transition from Obama to Trump.
Yeah.
And then Trump back to Obama.
Yeah.
In
essence. Conspiracy theories.
Did you see the thumbnail that I put up on the website?
No.
Fucking hilarious. This is with Illuminati John and it's the hands that are doing the.
Oh my god. I'll have to look at it.
Yeah. But I am I was concerned because everyone talks about Biden's mental capacity.
Yeah.
And his just the way he talks or doesn't remember what he says, right?
Yeah.
And listen, he might legitimately believe that he's being 100% honest.
I think he is. I really do believe that I think at this stage of whatever he's got going on, be it dementia, just plain old senility, or...
Well, you used to be in the medical field, right? You were.
Well, I am. I don't currently work in the medical field, but I am a registered nurse.
So you are a registered nurse. You
Yeah.
do have experience in seeing the demise or like the slow decay of.
More or less, I worked in emergency medicine,
Uh-huh.
and I did work in ICU and cardiac care, which was a CCU when I started. But definitely, even in those realms, seeing all walks of life, all different diseases, and how they took hold in someone's life and how they affected them mentally.
Right.
Sometimes seeing people that they would be totally like not with it at all, but they truly believed that what they were thinking was the truth.
Right. So do you think that there's a direct correlation with what you've witnessed personally and seen personally to the behaviors of the current president?
Definitely. I think that most people would agree. That there's no going away from there's no getting away from the things that he's said and the gaffes. He's always been a gaffe person.
Right.
But if you listen to some of the stuff that he said back in the 90s, even not that long ago. Granted, 1990 was 32 years ago, but
I hate thinking in those terms because I was born in the 80s. So when we're like, oh, wasn't it's fucking forever ago. You remember when he said this? And I was like, when did he say that? And we're like, oh, 96. And I was like, fuck. Damn it.
Yeah,
I've seen it. I've seen the reports. I've seen the interviews.
There's things though, there's racism, things that he said. Some of the stuff he said is so bad. But the problem is that now the left has pushed this we are all for people of color, but so many times all these candidates, these establishment people that they put into place are people that have shown their colors in the past. But the problem with, I don't necessarily know if it's just this current generation or if it's people in general have just been becoming more and more forgetful of past.
Right.
And instead of looking at the history of these establishment people, they're just letting it go.
They keep voting them back in.
Yeah.
Right. There should definitely be term limits.
100%.
And
that's for good or bad.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We've had great presidents that haven't gotten more than 2 terms, and you would wish they had more than 2.
Right.
But there has to. I think limits are good because they keep. I think they keep checks and balances.
Yeah.
They prevent people from getting too deep into the swamp per se. You know, I'm not like I think everybody in the swamp is the problem. I don't know. I don't even know a single person, Democrat or Republican, that I really trust in the government.
No.
I mean,
no.
Crenshaw was supposed to be great, and he's shown his colors.
Listen, they all say what they need to say to get reelected.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to say whatever you need to say to keep your job.
Then they all get their 25% raise this year.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on.
Absolutely. Right? Well, the majority of the country is still recovering from the COVID.
Yeah.
The COVID, which now nobody's talking about except, airlines and Fauci.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, only because midterms are coming up. It's going to start ramping up.
It's going to start ramping up, so we have to mail and vote again.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Conspiracies.
So absolutely. So I can say that with everything that is happening, and it's very hard to kind of keep track. That I believe that the Democrats are having, the people that voted for Joe Biden are having a little bit of buyer's remorse.
Definitely. I mean, even the polls from like more left-wing stations are showing a decrease in his approval ratings. You can't hide that.
Right. I think it was like the high 30s or something like that.
Something like that. It's
low.
been steadily dropping since his start.
Low. Well, because I think they've been sort of at this point where it's like, well, it can't get any worse. It keeps getting worse. Well, I can't get any worse than that. Well, it keeps getting worse.
Yeah.
Inflation.
Gas.
Stock markets, gas prices.
I just paid $5.25 a gallon to put diesel in my truck. I didn't even get 15 gallons. I put $75 in. I mean,
I borrowed Marlon's van to go to Ohio.
Yeah.
And that thing takes diesel.
It does?
It was something I immediately regretted. Because not only the diesel vehicles now, they take, like low sulfur diesel, green diesel, greasel. But they also take this thing, and I had no idea, called DEF, D-E-F.
Oh, yeah.
Which you can't get in small increments.
No, you have to buy the 5-gallon cans or the 2.5 gallons.
In some places you can get them in small increments, like a gallon jug, but not off the turnpike.
Not always.
Off the turnpike, you get this giant cube.
Yeah, in a box.
In a box.
It's environmentally friendly, but it's a cardboard box with a plastic bottle inside. Right. I mean, it's just like,
it's ridiculous.
Come on.
Meanwhile, I'm choking on the paper from my Sonic limeade.
Oh my god, dude! Every time we go to McDonald's, like, it kills me. I mean, anyone knows that McDonald's has the crispiest soda. I mean, my wife and we always say we're getting a crispy P. Dr. Pepper is like my go-to.
That's it?
Hell yeah. And every time we go there now, it's just like I get that paper straw and it just kills me. Because it's like, not only do they give you the paper straw, but then they give you a big old freaking plastic bottle. So it's like, okay, it's like, if you give me a paper cup, maybe I could buy it. I mean, what happened? Remember, like, it was like
a plastic cup with a plastic lid.
Yeah.
And
a paper straw.
It makes 0 cents.
I don't get it. I mean, we remember when it used to be, it was like, stop using paper bags because we're killing the rainforest. Start using plastic bags. And now it's back to like, all right, well, maybe we were wrong. We're killing all the turtles now.
Well, it's so funny because I had my own theory about, because we're just killing everybody off, right? But I have my own theory about global warming, and it's that it's the vegans' fault that for global warming, because they're eating everything that produces oxygen, through photosynthesis. And not only that is that they're killing all of the natural animals that live around these places that you have to like farm the land.
Yeah.
You know, for that specific reason, like, you know, you're completely going green. When you completely change like the cycle of something dies, right?
Yeah.
When you want to completely get off meat, right? If they're you know pushing the Green New Deal, reducing you know beef, and they're super taxing cow farms and stuff like that, and because cows fart. Well, everybody fucking farts. Okay?
Oh yeah.
Everybody.
And you know what? Those beans that they're eating, that ain't gonna help.
That is not helping. So you know we're just like, you know, it's like a giant pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
You know?
And we're just it's like reverse psychology.
We're replacing the farts, right?
There you go.
So we're just creating a lot of CO2, nothing to change that CO2 into oxygen, and you know now the Earth is getting warmer, right? But you have these Green New Deals that are trying to push. You have this climate initiative, the Climate Accord or whatever, the Paris something.
Yeah.
Here's the issue: is that India, China, and Russia, unless you get those three people on board with doing something to change the way they pollute the air, it doesn't matter what we do. It matters not what America does. America doesn't produce enough carbon emissions, right?
Yeah.
It's minuscule in comparison to those three places.
Oh yeah, I mean like Hong Kong and Shanghai and all them, they got like awful small.
India. You can't. There's no regulation over there, so it doesn't matter what we do. We could all drive electric vehicles, but they're still fucking the shit up over there.
I mean, and you've been to the Middle East, so you've seen how they burn trash like in the streets.
I've been in them pits.
You were burning trash too.
Yeah, H&R and shit, right? Everyone's suing now because they're getting sick or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I might jump on one of them 3M lawsuits. You know, fucking crazy, bro. It's insane. There's no rules. There's no rules over there. It is what it is.
And when you were in, it was like Wild West.
It was the Wild West. That's actually what they call, when we first invaded. I call it an invasion. It wasn't just, we invaded, then we occupied Iraq. It was the Wild West. Now you go, you're deployed over there. There's all these, rules, and we had our general orders-ish, but no one really there to enforce it.
Yeah.
Right.
You guys were the ones breaking ground there.
Yeah.
You went in.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can remember driving up Highway 1, and they were in the middle of their fucking long-ass walk to Mecca. You know what I mean? And so there were tons of people on the side of the road. There were burning vehicles on the side. We were driving through fucking Baghdad, bro, before Baghdad was even we were taking it. We took it, right? And then we took the airport. And then 2 days later, we drove up and took Balad, and then we took Tikrit, and then it just kept going up. They just took everything up north. Initially, we were supposed to come in through Turkey, from the north, but logistically, it just wasn't possible.
Yeah.
Right? So we had to come up through Kuwait. So I remember staging in Kuwait, and for a while, and then one day they were like, "We're going in." And I was like, "About fucking time." I didn't know what I was expecting when we crossed over that border, but it was it was just a whole different experience.
Yeah.
Foot on the gas. I was on this one long convoy, and I had to pee real bad, so I just pulled off the road, and everyone kept driving past me, and they just left me there, and I got a Humvee full of people, and they're like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing?" And then the lieutenant colonel turned around and drove back, and he was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? We're in a war." I had to pee. And he's like, hanging out the side.
Oh my God.
I got in a lot of trouble for that. But,
Dude, nature calls, man.
You gotta fucking take a piss.
Can't help it.
Yeah, take a piss.
You tell your commanding officer, you tell him I gotta pee.
This is George Bush's fault. Sitting out here,
Thanks, Bush.
Yeah, Bush. W. It's W's fault. But back to, just we're living in just crazy times right now.
Yeah.
And we're all trying to survive, and it's everyone is just at each other's throats. And I don't know when that started or how that started, right? I remember that when Trump was running for president, He talked about grabbing someone by the pussy, and everyone lost their fucking mind.
Yeah.
Right? He talked about the taco salads at Trump Tower, and everybody lost their mind. And now he was a racist, and now he was a sexist, misogynist, and
every name in the book.
Yeah, and then he became president.
You remember, like, everybody wanted to be him? Like, all the people had songs. Everybody wanted to be Trump.
Dude, he was on.
And then as soon as he was like, hey, I'm running for president, and they were like, whoa.
Yeah, hold on.
You know, hold on. You know,
hold
Trump,
on.
We liked you when you owned casinos, but not now.
Because he's a businessman. He's not a politician.
Yeah.
And he's not a very good businessman. I'm not 100% Trump. I'm not a Trumper. I know some people that are like die-hard Trump fans, and like, you know, Trump is a Trump 2024. I'd be surprised if he didn't run again, but I wouldn't be surprised if he lost in the primaries.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, everybody seems to think he's going to run again. To me, like, honestly, I feel for the guy. Like, I wouldn't want to run again.
I don't think he gives a shit. I think here's the problem with it is that it's not a vast majority that don't like him. It's 50-50.
Yeah.
He almost won.
Yeah. I mean,
if he comes in and he's running against Biden again, he will win. There's no way people are voting for Joe Biden again. And if Joe says I'm running again with Kamala as my VP, he's fucked. He's fucked. I mean, he's probably fucked.
Here's the thing. Like, I don't think he could make it to that point. I really don't think mentally he is capable of sticking with it.
How much longer do you think he's got in office?
I mean, you know, if you want to go with some conspiracy theories,
let's do it, man. Do it.
I mean, like, there is, you know, I mean, in the sense of what is it, the 25th Amendment, right? If he were to get taken out of office, you know, right before the second year ends of his first term, or right after, like even the day after the 2-year mark, you know, if Kamala comes into power, she could then have whoever she wants, you know, and really, I mean, like you were saying in the beginning, you're like, you know, Obama again. You know, that's another thing. Like, it could be that, and then it's really just she's like, to me, I don't even understand. Like, she's not even present. It's not even like she's trying to do anything bad. It's like she's not even present. She just like skipped town as soon as.
Well, every time she's in front of the fucking camera, it's like nobody preps her. You know, I think because everybody's resigning and she hasn't brought on new staff.
Yeah.
There's like 13 people that have left her cabinet, her staff.
Yeah.
But nobody is preparing this woman, you know, when she's going and talking in front of the camera, and she makes a complete fucking ass of herself.
Yeah.
Right? She's going on these radio interviews, and she's doing these fucking interviews, and she's doing press conferences, and she has no fucking clue what she's saying. It is like mind-boggling. Could you imagine if Pence went out there and was just like, you know, just fucking, if he had a fucking cackle?
Yeah.
Like, people would be losing their fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like, if we had and listen, you don't get to vote for vice president. You just got.
You pick the president and whoever comes with him.
And
that's who you got.
But that's Biden's fault because he wanted to pick a woman of color.
Exactly.
Versus
it was not a play of like, we need to get Kamala in power. I don't believe that at all.
But you know why? Because he said some racist shit. He said some fucked up.
He was like, if I pick a woman and it's a woman of color, you know,
it gives him brownie points.
Yeah, you're like untouchable because who could say I'm a racist now?
Because at the time, that was the worst thing someone could say to you, that you were a racist.
Yeah.
In the early 2000s or even in the late 90s, if someone said you were racist, so.
I mean, even Kamala was calling him a racist during the
primaries.
I know,
absolutely,
and like it's like as if like they were suddenly best friends.
But that was his reparations, I guess. Was
his reparations. Here's $400,000 a year.
Yeah,
you're good.
Right. Free house.
Just make sure you don't ever say I'm a racist again.
Just don't fuck up. You know? But
if anything, just don't even show up.
It is like the most ridiculous thing, and it's affecting everybody. it's affecting everybody. These decisions. You know, he picked the first confirmed female black Supreme Court justice, when really he was responsible for not confirming what was supposed to be the first black female Supreme Court justice when he was a senator.
Yeah.
Right? You know, so he's got his time. He's got his time in the camera for that. But it was like gone, right? Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, well, pretty much like everything in the past is suddenly like over with and nobody cares. They don't want to see how someone was acting. I mean, like, one thing that, you know, everybody says from before Trump went and was president was that he was historically, like, you know, leaning toward the Democrat side. And then when he ran as a Republican, everyone's like, oh, he's a snake, he's going to be a rhino, you know. And I mean, to be honest, like in the primaries, I didn't choose Trump. I actually wanted Carson. I thought he was just very reasonable. I just don't think he had enough authority. Like, he didn't present himself with enough authority. But
he's just not a showman.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
I liked him because he was a smart dude.
Yeah.
You know, and it didn't, the color never mattered to me with that. Like, I think that's like what I can't stand about like this racist stuff today is like, not everything is a race thing. Like, sometimes it's just like whether or not you like someone or not in their policies. Like, I liked Carson. I liked the way he thought and the way he acted, but
that just becomes a default. Like, when people are just not intelligent enough to have a conversation with you about something, you've got to attack your character.
Yeah.
Right?
Attack the character, and then you spend the rest of the time defending yourself.
And then they feel like they've attacked your character, and now it's, I got the one up on them. You know, it's over. But if you can't intelligently talk about the facts.
Yeah.
If I'm spitting facts at you and you're calling me a racist and a sexist, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll tell you right now.
Facts, truth is truth.
Here's the thing. I think everybody in America, everybody in this world is a little bit racist.
I'm sure everybody's got a little bit.
Everybody in this world is a little bit sexist.
They have a little bit of prejudice toward everything. Otherwise, we wouldn't have profiling.
Absolutely.
And everybody profiles everybody.
Everybody profiles everybody.
You can't walk through the streets of the ghetto and see a certain person and be like, that person's a druggie. Or
Let me go ask them for directions.
Yeah.
You know?
We profile as a part of our human nature, you know, and in our nature, we're going to have bias, you know. Whether or not you choose to live by that bias is really what makes you, you know, racist or sexist or whatever.
Yeah, I think that the conversation of race really is not even should not even be a topic when, you know, you have programs in place and these programs are put in place to, you know, equalize the grounds, or, you know, for equity.
Yeah.
Not equality.
Not equality, equity, exactly.
To make it a more equitable workplace. But you end up breeding this idea that, you know what, you don't have to try as hard because no matter what, there's affirmative action, there's equal opportunity, there's this and there's that. If you're a young black man, you don't have to try as hard as the Asian kid that can't get into Harvard, right? Because he scores too high and there's too many Asians. But they need enough black people.
Yeah.
Right. So you'll get into the Ivy League school if you apply, and you don't really have to apply yourself too hard because there are these corporations that are, you know, adopting these woke policies that will take 90% minorities out of college over the 10%, and that's how they grade it. Versus not on performance. Not on performance. Now it's just purely based on your skin color, which is like the biggest form of discrimination.
It is. Like, but it's like this reverse psychology type of discrimination where they're like,
you can't even call it reverse discrimination because, you know, then you're saying that prior to that, all the black people were discriminated against. When really, like, that stopped a while ago, right? Yeah. And then now, so like instead of discriminating against, and there should be no discrimination. I'm like anti-discrimination. I don't give a fuck who you are. If you do good work, I will hire you.
Yeah.
If you do good work, I will hire you. If you do shit work, I'm not gonna hire you.
Base your judgments on people on the content of their character,
And
who they are.
Right.
Why? Like, I was just talking to my wife about this a couple weeks ago. We saw something like, we don't have TV anymore, so we always get like secondhand news or like stuff that she finds or articles that I read. But like, I was talking to her and I was saying like, why do like colleges or jobs, when you apply, you have to put if you're white, Native American, Black, Hispanic, Latino, and I was like, why?
Yeah.
I feel like if you want to talk about being less racist or whatever, I mean, I'm only saying racist because of like it's an easy topic to talk about. Like, there's other forms of prejudice, of course, but like, if you want to talk about not being racist, why don't we stop talking about it? Like, stop bringing it up.
Just let it go.
Just let it go.
Just let it go.
Like, I don't need to know if you are smart, if you are, talented. Like, who cares? Who really cares? Boy, girl, black, white, brown. It doesn't matter.
I think honestly, John, it's because then if it was only based on performance, merit, then the only people that would have jobs would be Asian people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
sucks, man. Just the way it is, bro. Get over it.
Human calculators,
Fucking little Raymond running around.
Mike, what's 2 + 2?
Oh shit. You ever see that fucking viral TikTok going around?
No.
Where the guy's from Yemen, right? And his son is like, "What's 1 + 1?" And the kid's fucking bawling, crying. He's like, "What's 1 + 1?" The kid's like, 3. He's like, "You have 1, and you have another one. How many do you have?" And the kid goes, 17. He's like, well, "There's 1 of you and another 1 of you. How many are there? 6." He's like, "I'm taking you back to Yemen."
Oh, Jesus.
Yo, it was so funny. So
can't get
sad.
along.
It was so funny, bro. Because, kids just like spitting out numbers until
Yeah, he's just like, all right, just leave me alone,
yeah,
please. I can't do it.
I'm sorry. Yeah. If that was an Asian family,
There'd be rulers out.
Well, there would be a samurai sword in your finger out.
Yeah.
Plus 1 + 1.
If I chop one finger off.
Well, now I have 4.
True.
Chop this in half.
Actually, wrong, because you have thumbs or a finger, so.
I didn't even. That was a lucky guess.
You're gonna need to edit that out.
Thumbs aren't considered fingers?
No, it's I don't know what you would consider them, but
Appendages.
I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Opposable.
They're opposables.
They're opposables.
They're not digits, I guess. I don't know.
Interesting theory.
Yeah.
So we're right now. The hot topics on the news are you got inflation.
Yeah.
Which is at a record high, right? What was it, like 40% or some shit? What was it?
40.
I don't know.
I think it was like, it almost hit 10, or it did hit 10. I think now they're saying it's down to like 7, but like, I don't know, like, it's hard. Like, how do they calculate that? Like, what do they take the price of everything and then like make like the difference and get an average? Like, I don't understand.
I'm gonna look it up. Right now. What is inflation? What? Yeah, because I know that housing, the what was that? The interest rate.
Yeah, everything went up now. It's like, I was just talking to a potential customer 2 days ago, and he was looking into getting, I guess, a HELOC. So that he could do some renovations. He wants to do some like major renovations to the house, and they told him it's going to be like 5.3%. And I was like, "Whoa,
holy shit,
that's crazy!" I mean, that's a lot. I mean, mine. I think me and my wife have a 3%. I mean, even that's like kind of high.
Get the good interest rates, you know what I mean?
Got that 15-year, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh my god.
We spent our time.
8.5% right
Wow.
now.
So it's back up again then, because
Yeah.
someone just told me like 2 weeks ago it was like 7 something.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know really how that works, but
Fuck, I got 40. No, in 40 years. That's where I got.
oh, the highest in 40 years.
40
Yeah.
years,
Now
that's
that
right.
I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say 40%. I was like, Jesus Christ, everything. I mean, in my field in construction, yes, everything has been crazy, price wise. You know, materials, even sublets and everything. It's just like everything's gone up. Everybody wants more, and I think at this point we're gouging. You know,
Oh,
and I think
right.
the inflation like that across the board is gouging. But the problem is, it's like a sick cycle because one feeds the other,
Yeah,
feeds
and
the
you're
other.
being forced to.
Yeah, you have to.
You're being forced to price things out based on others gouging.
Yeah,
Right.
and like, but nobody wants to go down because they're like, I can't go down unless this person goes down,
Right.
or unless this goes down.
Yeah,
and
and
now
it's really at
with
the
fuel
top.
going up,
Right, well, that's
it's
really where it
driving
starts.
everything up
The
again.
freight, the shipping, everything is it all comes together.
Yeah.
And I had to have a couple conversations with a couple of clients of mine because I can get things done. Normally, I can get things done at least like 30 to 40% cheaper than
Yeah.
other houses that do marketing related promotional materials. Right.
Yeah.
I can get things decently priced.
Yeah,
And I don't need to make a lot. I'm not greedy. I think you're sort of in the same. You're in the same boat.
I mean,
you don't.
yeah.
You don't. I don't charge like. So I know some people that when they get the quote, they'll charge 100%. They'll charge double.
oh, not even close, dude.
Right.
Not even
Yeah.
close.
Um.
The problem is there's a lot of people who do that.
Yeah.
Like, there'll be a lot of flash in the pan type of contractors, or even in your situation, like, and some businesses have the ability to do that. Like maybe like retail, you could do
Right.
like 100%.
Right.
But like in our fields, if you start doing that, you're gonna be not competitive. You know?
Right.
Or
I guess what makes my business stand out a little bit more is one, there's no competition around me. Nobody
Yeah.
does what I do in this area, right? Until you get to Trenton or you get to Mount Laurel.
Yeah.
Right. I'm it.
yeah, but I mean, like, this is also some quality work that we see from Designfly.
Well.
You know, shout out to Designfly. Toot, toot, toot. Not trying to toot my own horn, but beep beep.
Yeah.
You know.
But I don't necessarily, because I'm a one-man show. I don't need to charge double. I can understand people have like 9, 10 employees, and they're not bringing in as much work. So the work that they do have from the steady customer, they feel like based on the customer they can charge double. I don't agree with that. I have this, in my inventory or my invoicing system, I have one set cost.
Yeah.
Because that's what it costs me, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
charging. So I don't have different costs for different clients.
Yeah, same with me. I mean,
Yeah.
like so many people think that, and a lot of contractors do,
Mm-hmm.
but like they'll go to a certain neighborhood, maybe where you see more like affluence, and they lick their chops.
Right.
Like, ooh, I'm gonna do like a 50% markup on things, and I'm
Yeah.
like, no, you can't do that. Like, treat people the same. I mean, like, I'll say this: if anything, my prices will go down for certain people. Like, if I'm in a neighborhood where I know like people are in need, then
Right.
I try to give them a break.
Right. There's a little bit of
Because
room.
I'm like, I've always like felt for people in need.
Yeah.
Where like if they need me and I can accomplish that need,
Right.
and I try to go easy on them.
Yeah,
It's just like
absolutely.
I'm like, I know you need this. Like sometimes old people need like a ramp built, or like
Yeah.
they're like, I've had customers who have gotten taken by, not physically taken, I mean like their money taken by contractors who have like sort of skipped town in a sense. And then at that point, like I'll see if I can cut that out of my cost and just like eat it, not eat the cost, but just like take money that I would have made away, so that like I can help them get done, because I feel bad, because I'm like, who would do this to a person?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. And I read it all the time on the internet. People get taken advantage of
Yeah.
that way. But I had to have a couple conversations because the cost of shipping directly correlates to the price that I have to charge for things.
Yeah.
So as gas prices go up and freight goes up,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's like you can't even guarantee. It used to be a year, 2 years ago, you could be like, I'll have it in 3 days.
Yeah.
You can't even say that anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Because since the costs are rising for fuel and transportation, some of these bigger shipping people are putting less trucks out
Yeah.
there so they can keep their costs down and making, but what's happening is it's slowing the whole thing down.
It is, yeah.
I hear there's still boats floating out off of California. I hear there's a ton of shit that's just like ready to make port, but then there's nobody to drive it anywhere.
Yeah.
There's nobody to take it to the next spot.
Yeah.
And that's a big issue, man. This backlog, and I don't know when that domino effect is going to stop. And really that's not the president's fault. The current political structure. I think that the lockdown that Trump initiated was what started that. And
I think it's like, I don't necessarily want to say that it's like one person's fault or the other, but it's like we've created this like beast, this like figment of our imagination type of beast that has like it's driven this fear into people.
Right.
I think COVID was a big like opportunity for use of scare tactics, propaganda, fear. I mean, every day on the radio, if you listen to Pandora, like, or any radio, but like Pandora, one that like kills me. It's like every day. It's like, get your vaccine, go see grandma again, and I'm like, oh my god, like, our government is spending my money on this right now.
Right now.
Like,
absolutely.
I paid for this ad.
You did.
And
I don't want to hear it anymore. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And this fear mongering has, like you said, like earlier, you're saying like, when did this turn into this like hatred towards each other?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, as soon as COVID started, and like, it's like people, there used to be like moderate Republicans, moderate Democrats.
Yeah.
And it's like that gap widened completely. There is no in between anymore. You can't be center of the road anymore. It's like you're either one or the other. I mean, I've seen family, I have my own family that has like issues with, our feelings between it. And it's not that like I have an issue. Right. It's more like a lot of times if you don't feel a certain way, and you don't agree with something, it's like certain people, especially now, can't handle like debate. They just shut down, or they get angry and violent.
Well, they get frustrated because you don't have the news, and you spend most of your day doing other things. But some people are like on social media all day, and some people are on the news all day. And the issue that I'm having right now with social media is that instead of like giving you everything and you reading everything, you're really only reading what they feel like you would be interested in. So you're really only getting 50% of the story. I don't see any Democrat left-leaning news on my news feed.
Oh, no.
On social media. No, I don't see it. Unless my friend shares it. And I see what my friend shares because I communicate with my friend. Then I'll see it. I'll only see right-leaning things. Even on my...
And that's interesting because, like, and you said, like, I even listened to your old podcast, and we've talked before.
Right.
And you said that, like, historically for you, you've been more on the Democrat side.
I'm a registered Democrat.
Yeah.
Right? I voted for Obama.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with a lot of the things that they were talking about doing. My issue is that they didn't fucking do the things that they said they were going to do.
Yeah.
Right? And at least with, Trump,
he did what he said he was going to do.
He did exactly what
or
he said.
Or he did everything he could too.
He did everything he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
Right? And if somebody stopped him from doing that, Congress or Senate, then that's not his fucking fault. He tried to do it.
He tried.
Right.
Exactly. You can't take that away from him.
Like
him or hate him.
Right. And the issue with COVID is that nobody fucking knew what it was when Trump was still president. Nobody fucking had any idea that it was as bad, and really, it wasn't as bad, but it was bad.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it wasn't bad. I'm just saying it wasn't as bad as what everybody.
It was not. It was never instant death, which is what was portrayed.
I do know people that family members and friends that have passed from COVID, and my heart goes out to them.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I never, regardless of what conspiracy theories I believe in, like I don't take the sadness of death or the fact that you could die from COVID away. COVID itself was not a conspiracy theory in my opinion. Like it is not. It was real. It was just propagandized, I guess you would say.
It was a way to keep people inside.
Yeah.
And away from seeing each other and having meaningful conversations.
It separated the public.
It was a way for kids to be stuck inside all day and have this, the education gap from remote learning to in-school learning.
Yeah.
I feel like my daughter, who's a junior now, should be a fucking sophomore. She's not.
Really?
Yeah, she's not. She is. And a lot of children are super stressed out because the level of work that's due is fucking insane for them based on the year that they just had. They were taking class from their bed, right? So you go from zero to, but listen, there are parents out there that are like fucking militant with your kids. Get up, get dressed, sit at the table. You're gonna do this, but if you do that, then you have to be consistent with that. And then how the fuck do you go to work and do that shit? Right? There's no housewives, bro. Like you got to work. You have to work and make your money. So like I have to be able to trust my kid that's gonna do that stuff. But nobody knew how bad it was. So you really had like a 50-50 on the reaction. You either have to come in hard or you have to come in soft.
Yeah.
Right? And he came in hard. He started developing a vaccine, and he said, fucking stay home for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then he left it to the states to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then it was the states that were like, lockdown, masks, and all
the fact that the states were doing different things that just gets me because it's like, okay, so like, what? It's you're less susceptible if you live in Pennsylvania versus New Jersey versus Delaware,
absolutely. or but you can't go outside. But if you live in these low population areas, these are the figures.
Dude, Shanghai right now, after all this time,
they're like welding people in, bro.
Did you see? There was a video. These people are like in Shanghai are like out on their balconies, singing, screaming and singing and trying to just keep people's spirits up and get their own spirits up.
Right.
And the Chinese government, the communist government, is sending drones out that are saying please try to control your soul's urge for freedom in Mandarin or whatever. But it's just like, whoa. It just shows that there is so much politicizing of this. When someone on the news, I think it was on CNN, I can't remember who it was, but he was like, these people want freedom instead of safety.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, like I would rather be free than, and potentially die. Mm-hmm. Potentially.
Right.
When this first started, my wife was pregnant. She was, she was started in March 12th, 14th, something like that, 2020. And my wife was like 6 months pregnant. And when that first started, they were like, your baby's going to die if you get COVID. And we were like, well, basically that's how they were saying. They were like, you better watch out and wear your mask. And if you don't, it'll cause a miscarriage. your baby could very well die. So like, you know, we would go, and my wife had me like doing hand sanitizer. Me, you know me, I'm like hand sanitizer, and I was even freaking doing the hand sanitizer. And then like
spraying down your groceries when you got home and shit.
We never did that. In my opinion, like, I mean, working in medicine, I knew that viruses don't typically last on solid surfaces. Mm-hmm. You know, they need organics, they need a host to survive.
Right. But then you had like the other half of the medical field that were saying you're completely out of your mind. Yeah. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just a nurse.
I mean, granted, I am not a virologist, an immunologist. Yeah. I am a nurse, you know, so I go by, you know, evidence-based practice. What have we used for practice for the last 100 years? What do we know thus far about how diseases work?
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying, like, I obviously didn't get out my freaking microscope, you know, and try to, like, study COVID.
Your little fucking glass plates.
Yeah, here I am sitting in my living room, and I'm like, I have discovered the cure.
Like your Tony Stark and you found time travel.
Yeah, I'm
with your fucking Mobius strip.
Yeah, I'm like, yep, I did it. I did it. I mean, granted, I mean, if we're being honest about that, like, it was not Tony Stark. This guy.
I got you. He completely got it.
It's his computer.
Right. You tweeted it to him, and he just used it.
Who knows? Maybe there was an Asian behind the computer.
I'm sure there was.
It's probably.
I'm sure there
had to be. I mean, because like you said, like there would, you know.
Listen, Jarvis is totally an Asian man. Yeah. So, you know, we're facing this fucking these crazy times right now where everything is costing way more than it should. Gas is at an all-time high. Do you see that coming down anytime soon?
Honestly, I'm surprised it hasn't gone up more.
Yeah, it's like $10 in California.
We'll see, but like, I don't know why we're not seeing it here. Like, I fully expected that we were going to hit like $7 already.
I don't know why it's so expensive in California.
California is always expensive, always more expensive. I mean, I don't know why exactly. Probably because of the transport. And probably also because they have like a million different taxes on everything.
Maybe, but they say that the gases should be cheaper in New Jersey because of all the taxes we pay. Like we're taxed the most, so our car insurance, our auto insurance, and the gas is supposed to be cheaper.
We also pay more though because we're one of the only states that don't allow self-serve.
Right, and you have to do that minimum wage. Although, if you go to the pilot station off 206, you have to pump your own gas.
I think it's because it's considered like, maybe because it's considered like a toll road type.
On 206?
It's not a toll road, but it's right off the turnpike, so I wonder if...
They make you pump your own shit.
Yeah.
I was like, I sat there. I was like, there ain't nobody out here, man. And I went inside, I was like, I don't mind doing it. Do I have to pump my own gas? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, don't look at me like I'm fucking crazy. You are in New Jersey. What is this, Indian fucking reservation? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like, you know, don't look at me like I'm stupid. I got 10 hits for asking if I gotta pump my own gas, right? And then why the fuck is it so expensive still if I gotta pump my own shit?
You know,
I'm gonna submit my tax information to them so I can get 1099, you know, for my hours labor.
There you go. Absolutely. And you should be getting minimum for that too.
Absolutely.
Like so,
15 is like $12.50 now.
Yeah. It's headed to 15. A lot of places have just jumped the gun and they're like, we're not gonna like, you know, beat around the bush here. Just do the 15. Now, I don't see why. I mean, we're getting a little off topic here, but like, I don't understand why we had to go to 15 because a lot of the jobs that now have to be 15 are not jobs that are worth $15 an hour.
Fuck off.
You should not be flipping burgers making $15 an hour. I'm sorry.
It's the whole living wage argument, right? I can tell you this, that when I was raised and when I was growing up, that McDonald's wasn't my career.
Exactly.
Right? And that is going to be your stepping stone to learn customer service, how to operate a cash register, how to do meaningful work for very little money so that you can appreciate a very well-paying job. But now, everything's socially acceptable to be fucking lazy and to flip burgers, to grow your hair out long and fucking do ollies in the parking lot, fucking smoke weed. You know, they're allowing law enforcement and corrections officers now are allowed to smoke weed.
Really?
On their free time, on their off time.
No way.
Yes, it is now acceptable to smoke marijuana.
Is this a federal thing or a New
No,
Jersey
I just had
thing?
a corrections officer in here last Monday,
Yeah.
and he was telling me, he was like,
Really?
yeah. He had him on the podcast. He was like, we are now allowed to get high.
I didn't see that part. No, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, so we are now allowed to get high. We're now allowed to smoke weed. So I don't know if it's law enforcement officers, but I know it's corrections officers.
Yeah.
So I don't see the difference. You know?
I mean, they both have to go to,
They both have to
academy.
carry a gun, and they both have to qualify.
Yeah.
That's really, and one monitors the inmates, and the other one.
Maybe because one deals with civilians versus like incarcerated individuals.
Hey man,
I don't know.
who the fuck knows? But now I know that we're in a way more lax society than we were 20 years ago, right? Things are just more acceptable.
Well, we're more laxed in other ways. We're not laxed in like the good ways. We're laxed in like the bad ways. We're like drugs are okay, it's okay. Let's set up shoot up sites for people.
Give out free needles. And our taxes are paying for that.
Yeah.
Our taxes are buying the fucking needles and the glass pipes.
Yeah.
And the shit like that, right?
Don't be but they're not lax like, let's stay out of people's lives and let them live their lives. Let's tax them to death.
Right.
And we'll let them, but as a benefit, they can do drugs.
Put a little bit of white out on the Constitution.
There you go. Yeah.
Free speech only applies unless.
Yeah. It's free speech if.
Your Second Amendment only applies if.
Yeah. It's like they're coding it now. They're else if.
Well, you have to. It's all or nothing, right? When you talk about free speech or your right to bear arms, it's all or nothing.
Yeah. To me, for sure. Not to everybody. Like, for some reason, everybody that doesn't know anything, anyone who is not involved in, I don't want to call it the firearm community, because to me, I feel like everybody should be knowledgeable about this. Mm-hmm. If you do not know your rights, there is a problem.
Right.
I have to, knock myself a lot of times because, a lot of times, the immigrants who go through the legal process to become citizens,
right,
they know so much more than we do about our own constitution,
because
about
they have to.
Yes, but we should have to know this too.
Well, we
are.
Did.
It's like
we did in the 4th grade, and we just forgot it, right?
But we should be getting taught this as adults. Know your rights, know why you need these rights. Why do we need to emphasize things that happen in history? Because history does repeat itself. It is a fact.
Well, so here's the other side of the argument with that is absolutely we all need to know our history. But there's 50% of the population of America that believe that the history that we know or that we think we know is rooted in white supremacy and racism. So it's immediately cancels it out.
But it's just like a word that they throw out. It's like a buzzword. They're like, if we do this, nobody can argue it, because if they do argue it, then they're racist.
Right.
So it's like everybody don't want to talk about it.
Right.
Because we're like,
right. The right to bear arms is rooted in racism and white supremacy. The right to free speech and freedom of press and freedom of, what do they call it?
Apparently freedom is rooted in racism.
Well, absolutely. The right to vote.
Yeah. I don't know. People didn't die for their right to vote.
I think. Listen, I have no issue with the way the voting is set up. You have to not be a fucking criminal and not be a felon, right? And you have to be a fucking American citizen to vote for the president. Otherwise, you're going to... We're letting illegal immigrants and felons vote for who's going to be the leader of the free world. And I heard Jen Psaki say this the other day, which she's totally biased and she should resign for conflict of interest because she's about to go to MSNBC.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She should go to CNN Plus.
She should, right. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, CNN Plus. Yeah. I don't, but she said, he's the leader of the free world. We don't get to tell him how to do this and that. I'm like, he ain't leading shit, right? First of all, this dude,
can barely function. Well, that was poopy pants.
He's not giving any interviews. He's saying the most off fucking kiltered shit.
Yeah.
He's whispering into the microphone like this when making a point. It's fucking freaking me out, bro. Right? And now he got a vice president that went missing because nobody knows where the fuck she's at. And every time she shows up, she says some fucking dumb shit.
Yeah.
You know? And then we got fucking Governor Murphy, you know, for New Jersey. And I live in New Jersey, so this directly affects me. Mm-hmm. Governor Murphy almost lost to a Republican by like 1,500 or 2,500 votes. Mm-hmm. He almost lost, and he was shitting his pants. And he was going to make mandatory vaccinations for everyone. For every job in the state of New Jersey. He was going to do like critical race theory and all this stuff, but he backed off of it because he was like, look, after thinking about it, he was like, you know, 50%, like he's like, I almost lost this. Yeah. So I'm not listening to everyone, and I need to listen to everyone. And if he wants any chance in hell for a Democrat to come back in, you know, as governor and to lead the state of New Jersey, he needs to fucking chill the fuck out. Yeah. You know what I mean? The whole thing on...
But here's the thing. Like, at the end of the day, you know, if you have your actions, you know, people need to hold you responsible for these actions. If people were so upset with how he handled it, which I was, you know, like, I couldn't stand the way, like, he did things. Now, granted, you know, I'm a bit of a rebel. Like, I don't listen to things like that. Like, you wanna tell me what to do, like, we'll see. Right, you know, right. I'll think about it and I'll let you know.
Absolutely.
You know, so at the end of the day, like, did I ever stop going to work? Heck no, man. If anything, I enjoyed it. It was like the one good thing that came out of COVID. Right. We had like 2 weeks of no traffic. I was traffic. Like, this is beautiful.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing.
It was almost surreal.
I got pulled over once. During the whole like super lockdown, like no one could leave their house unless they were like mission essential or essential workers. Mm-hmm. And I got pulled over once, and the guy was like, "Do you have your essential worker card?" I'm like, "Nah." And he's like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "Man, I had to get out. I had to get out of the house." Mm-hmm. He's like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm just driving, man. Yeah. I'm not even stopping." And he was like, "All right." He fucking let me go. Yeah. Because it's fucking stupid.
What are we under martial law?
Yeah,
like we can't America. Like you can't leave your house. You have to stay indoors, lock your doors, don't talk to people. I mean, come on.
During that whole like lockdown thing, I can't tell you how many people that I spoke to that were like, we're forming a militia and we're gonna take over the fucking state. And I was like,
no, you're not.
Yeah, see now the FBI knows that you just texted me that, so I'm gonna chill out at the house. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I honestly, if we're being totally honest, I don't think that there's enough strong-willed people to actually like carry that out. Like, you'll have 50% of your what was it called, the boogaloo?
The boogaloo.
Yeah. You'll have like 50% of those guys drop it out the first time they see a gun pointed at them. You know, and look,
I 100% agree.
Like, we talked about this at one night. It was like, you know, you have to be smart. Like, first of all, nobody should want to go to war. Nobody should want to have to potentially like kill their neighbor. You know.
Well, that's what you're looking at, though.
Yeah.
This is the state that we were in, and we actually had to have like I don't know. Were you around the neighborhood at that time?
What, when it first started?
The lockdowns, yeah.
I moved in 6 months after it started.
Right. So I know me and a couple of the other neighbors were all standing down at the end of the driveway, and we were like, look, here's the deal, right? And we all made an agreement that, you know, we were going to protect the home front as much as possible. And Marlon was in on it. You know, all of us were in on it. Yeah. And but that's, you know, I don't know any of these motherfuckers on the street next to us. I don't know any of these fucking people off of the other side street this way, side street that way. We got Section 8 and fucking lower income homes that are less than 3 miles away from us, right? Yeah. There's a lot of choke points in our neighborhood.
we're in a good spot.
We're in a very elevated position.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of blind spots.
Yeah.
And we mapped everything out on how we were going to do it. Now, applying those techniques and doing what we said we were going to do, and you're familiar because now you live in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
It's very temporary.
Yeah.
A week, tops.
Yeah.
And if it really got to the point where at the time everyone thought it was going to get to,
yeah,
then you got to rethink some alliance issues. Then you're going to have to cross some lines. You're going to have to create gray areas. You know what I mean? And
well, because everybody is all amped up and ready for like a couple days.
Well,
they could do a couple days.
This, right?
It's a lot of exactly.
It's all this, but when you turn your fucking hat around and put that fucking rig on,
yeah,
it's time to go to work.
Yeah.
You know what, man? I gotta make sure the kids are all right.
Yeah. Or even if the problem, I think the biggest thing though is that it's easy to maybe if you have no resistance, if you think that if you're like the big man and you can handle the little guys, or whatever. But as soon as you start coming up against some real competition, I mean, like if this were to I remember thinking I was telling Corinne, I was like, I was watching out of the window every night because before I moved in there, I was living in town here, and I was on a side street, but I was like, there was traffic all throughout the night anyway,
right.
Because they always say there was some shady people that go down that street for whatever reason, but we're talking 2 a.m. sometimes, right. And I was like, I got a pregnant wife. And basically that means anything that's going to happen is going to be me alone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have to like think about this. So I would say like, here's what we're going to do if something happens, and like, it's the same thing, like, but the biggest thing is just like I don't want ever for that to happen. I really don't,
right.
But if it happens, you got to be ready.
Yeah, and you can't hesitate.
Yeah, so it's good to have a plan.
Yeah.
But you have to know who the guys are going to be.
Well,
They're going to be able to stick with it.
There's right now in our area. There's me. I'd be the only one forward moving, right? And then I don't know how many people in the neighborhood I would trust in a stage 2 type scenario. So stage 1 is great; everybody can get together and hang out and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
Block the roads off and bullshit. Stage 2 is a little bit more crazy, a little bit more hectic, and there's a lot of trust involved in stage 2. Stage 3, no holds barred, bro. Everyone for themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you got to know who you that level of trust and that basically you step on the grass and it's over for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we are.
Well, that's what I was like when we moved in. You and I talked about it, and I was like I could tell right away, even before we really got in depth about your past and whatnot as in the military.
Right.
I was like, I can tell that he's he's forward thinking. He knows that he's got to think about these things and he's got to keep his mindset in a certain area. And those are the people you want to attach yourselves to in the sense of trust. You got to be able to trust certain people, like you said, because you can't do it alone. At the end of the day, you can't. Nobody's gonna make it out of it alone. You know, you got to have friends, allies, and stuff like that. But
yeah, definitely. Me and I have probably a solid group of 5 people, but I don't know. Right now, if I were to call them, they would show up.
Yeah.
But if in a situation like that, they're doing their own thing.
They got to protect themselves, protect their families. Yeah.
And we're so spread out across the state.
Yeah.
That even meeting up would be a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
With all our shit.
It'd be dangerous.
It would be very dangerous.
Yeah.
But we have a very wide perimeter. That we cannot control. So there's that, right? But I don't think we're at a point where we're gonna see any Russians jumping out of airplanes or anything like that.
I don't even think they could. I don't even think they could get here. I mean, there may be like sleeper people here, but I don't think we're gonna be able to see.
Yeah, I don't think it would be very difficult.
Yeah, it's like people saying like, oh well, if China tried to attack us, well, first of all, they can't even get their planes off their ships without having to refuel as soon as they get in the air.
Right.
So I mean, like they have their own logistical nightmares, and if they tried to come out and like get us, like I was literally just talking about this with the barber yesterday.
Yeah.
And he was like, we were talking, and I was like, yeah, he's like, even if they had like a fleet of thousands of ships coming over here, I was like, all we have to do is just drop a nuke and explode it 2 miles, 3 miles above the surface of the water, and it would take all their ships out, and we would destroy the entire Chinese fleet.
Right.
Like, there's nothing. Like,
we don't have enough ships anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
well, exactly. But
right.
even like, it's like there's just ground warfare doesn't really seem to be a thing today.
Well,
in that way,
I can tell you there would be one way. There would be one way for them to do that, and that would be if we were engaged in a cyber war prior to the ground war, and if they took out all of our electronics.
Okay,
we are very, we're everything.
The world is like that, though. I mean,
well,
maybe not third world countries, but
right, the people that are used to fighting in those conditions, they are like that, right? So. I mean, there could be some shit out there. I think Russia's pulling an okey doke on us over there in the Ukraine. I think he is. I think at some point they're not going to take the whole thing. They're just going to be like, all right, we're just going to keep what we got. I saw an estimate today that said there was only $30 billion worth of damage.
Really?
I don't think that's correct. I think the BDA, the battle damage assessment, should be a lot more than that. Right.
I mean, maybe that's what it's worth to them, though, versus us. Like maybe
30 billion rupees.
Wow, what's that, like $15?
That's 100 pesos, John.
Oh, wow.
I don't know, man. All these fucking stupid fucking sanctions that really only hurt us. Do you realize that the sanctions that we imposed on Russia only hurt us?
And like right now, we're seeing, I mean, because here's the thing, like the sanctions, like if Putin is so dead set into taking, Ukraine, then he doesn't care about the sanctions. Like he doesn't care. He's just like,
care.
He's like, why do I care about the sanctions? He's like, that's not affecting this.
Do you know that they just increased the oil and gas reserves for India and China? Right? That's really all they did. That's who's buying their shit.
Yeah.
Is India and China. They don't need SWIFT. They'll create their own fucking banking system and increase their dollar value. Yeah. They don't need to trade with us.
I heard some theories that they were saying that Putin wanted the Russian economy to tank because him and the oligarchs have put away so much money that, in essence, if they were to tank the Russian economy, they could buy out like all the public companies.
Maybe.
Because you could drop their worth to effectively nothing, and then they could just buy them.
Right.
And then once the economy starts coming up, they're now the richest people in the world.
Fucking crazy.
I mean, it's pretty far out, but I mean, I guess it's possible.
Who knows?
I mean,
listen, I know this. Putin's not stupid.
He may be senile.
Maybe
him and Joe should hang out.
They should.
They probably do.
They wouldn't even remember it.
They probably already do. Maybe that's why we haven't done anything, because Joe's like, come on, Vlad.
Man. I can't. I'm kind of at a point where I don't think it can get any worse. For me, I don't know. I don't know what would be next. We have the first male-female admiral, Rachel Levine, who's like the health secretary, assistant health secretary, or secretary to the assistant health something. But Babylon B got kicked off of Twitter because they voted him man of the year. And he's a she. He. And then Elon Musk is trying to buy Twitter, which I feel like he might actually buy Twitter. Which really is, it's good and bad, right? Because all the conservatives that got kicked off of Twitter, heavily invested into Rumble and all these other conservative like social media sites.
Yeah.
And that'll just bomb the shit out of them.
Yeah.
That shit'll fucking tank, right?
If he gets it.
If he buys Twitter.
Yeah.
But because Musk is not a conservative either. He just believes in free speech.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. I guess, in today's culture, you would definitely call me a conservative, for sure. Because I can't get on board with the far left ideas. It's just
they're just
they're just too far out.
Yeah, they're just they're too crazy.
It's just it's not.
They're not Christian. The beliefs aren't very Christian.
Well, there's that for sure.
Yeah.
And they're just not conducive to normal life. Like, you can't live the way that they want you to live now. It's like fake. It's like it can't happen.
Right.
Look at the generation we've created of weak people now. Like, our country, even if we don't go to war or something, which I pray that we don't, our country can't survive with a bunch of weak people in power. And in essence, we have weak people in power. We have people that they all bow to someone. And that's the almighty dollar.
Right.
And all these politicians, they went in, middle class to an extent, upper middle class. And now they're all millionaires, billionaires,
Pelosi, shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Where'd you get your hair cut out, girl?
Yeah. There's a thing you can follow her stock trades and shit. And you can in real time, whatever she's trading, you can trade too.
There's something about that though that just it feels morally wrong. That she's got.
I'm doing it.
I know, but it's it's hard for me because I base a lot of my actions on my morals. So even if I know it's a sure thing, it's I feel like I couldn't get on board with it. I wouldn't feel good about it. I feel like I'm just driving into a deeper moral confusion, further worsening the public by doing this. I'm just supporting the bad idea.
Just loan me $1,500. We won't have to know anything about it. And then I'll pay you back whatever interest that makes.
Yeah, that's my that's
your go around.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your loophole.
Yeah, there's my loophole. As long as don't see it, it's okay. It's out of sight, out of mind.
Called the Pelosi Fund. Well, they're talking about bringing Hillary back. I mean, they were talking about it, but
never happened.
No, then the whole thing came out with the report about the dossier, the Steele dossier. That whole report came out, so that got scratched right away. Biden, I think, released that shit, and because he knew
she's probably too much of a liability because of her.
Absolutely, but then his fucking laptop came back up out of nowhere.
I know.
Listen, this is why you can't trust a lot of the shit that the Democrats are spewing, because it's
remember when he was
they're lies. They're lying to you, right?
Yeah.
You can't get COVID if you've got the vaccine. Lie. Right.
Well, now it's just, it was never meant to stop you from getting COVID. It was meant to make it less symptoms. And it's whoa. I don't take the MMR vaccine so that my measles aren't that bad.
Right,
I take it so I don't get measles. So I don't want to get polio. I don't want to get tetanus. If you get tetanus, if you have them symptoms, man, you're pretty much toast. So absolutely. Just saying.
Yeah. then really, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
It's
so don't tell me. And at that, who's to say that your symptoms are worse or less severe? Because
where's the metric?
Yeah.
What's the metric? Because everybody's different.
Everybody has a different immune system, and no one I've seen people who have got vaccinated who've gotten COVID and even got it another time. I had COVID. I had the Delta variant.
Right.
I will say, sucked. I had a fever for 2 weeks straight.
Yeah, you were being a little baby about it.
I know. I was literally sweating.
I heard all about it.
You see me try to take my trash down. I was like, don't go near me. But I was taking my trash down. It was 97 degrees out. I'm profusely sweating, and all I'm doing is walking down the driveway and back up.
Yeah, well, I didn't see you bring it down. I did see you turn around and contemplate whether or not you're just gonna have a seat or start your walk.
Just die right there.
Because your driveway, at least least a fucking 50-degree pitch.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's I don't like walking up.
I practically have to crawl up it, you know, as it is.
I tried. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it anymore.
Now you just back up.
Just go the canyon out. Yeah, but then Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, of course. It was Trump disinformation.
Now we know it's not, and they have no idea who has it. They have no idea where it's at.
Do you remember what just happened like 2 weeks ago with that? What senator was it? Gates?
Matt Gates.
And he was like, "You have no idea where the information is?" Or like, "No." He's like, "Well, I have it right here." And I was like, "Oh my god!" Mic drop moment.
Yes. He's like, "Well, here I'd like to put into record.
Here it is.
The contents." And then fucking neighbor was like, "Oh," totally shit himself.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, well, we'll have to look at it."
Meanwhile, Hunter's like,
Hunter doesn't give a fuck. Hunter, listen.
Smoking his pipe. That's why his dad, he's free crack pipes for everybody.
Free crack all around. Free crack pipes all around.
You smoke crack?
I got your back. Hunter's got your back. I feel really, I feel kind of bad for Joe a little bit. Because did you see that one moment on Easter? Did you see any Easter White House moments?
No.
Well, he was talking to a reporter, and he was talking to someone about Afghanistan. And while he was in mid-sentence, the Easter Bunny came up, jumped in front of him, and was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa," to him, and like turned him, like physically touched him, turned him, and told him to walk the other way. And who was dressed up as the Easter Bunny was his like public relations person.
Oh, really?
Like that, yeah. So he was about to say some shit he wasn't supposed to say, or he did say some shit he wasn't supposed to say. And she was like, "Whoa," jumped in front, stopped him, turned him. Like, if I'm the fucking president and any of you motherfuckers touch me, I'm going to fucking cut you, like, right then and there. You're gone.
Leader of the free world,
I'm
right?
the leader of the free world. It's fucking Easter Bunny. Who the fuck? And, for a moment, he was like, with his fucking Clint Eastwood stares.
Yeah. Come on, man.
I recognize you.
Come on, man.
Every year you come around and talk shit.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. There's something
I know
in your
you.
face.
I know you.
Yeah. It's like, "Oh, hey. What are you doing in there?"
Jen Psaki?
Dude, she's he's just like so fucking out of it, bro. I feel really bad for him.
It's like elder abuse.
Like my grandfather. But I don't want to feel too bad because the only other option is that cackling beast, Kamala or Kamala. How do you say it? Kamala?
I think it's Kamala because I think I used to say Kamala or Kamala.
Kamala. Oh, dude. Yeah, she's like, I don't even know, like, I think she just like tries to improv everything.
She's just there for the paycheck, dude. I'm telling you, it's got to be what it is. I used to think that like,
but she don't get paid that. I think she only makes like 150 as the VP.
Yeah, and what does she do? She'll go to the border.
Makes an ass of herself.
Yeah, she does that, and then she flies around the world, but not really doing the things she needs to do.
Yo,
I'm gonna go to the border. I've been to the border before. Like, I've been to Mexico too. I've been to Cozumel.
Yeah, I've been to Cancun. Yeah. I know what the water's like.
Listen, I dove. I was diving in Cozumel. I know what it's like in the streets.
Yes,
I rented a scooter and I rode around.
I love me some carne asada. Don't get it twisted, sir. Don't get it twisted.
I know what they do with Senor Frogs. Yeah.
You ever seen the show El Burro?
Listen, I've watched Narcos, okay?
Yes.
I know what's going on.
I've seen all the seasons.
Narcos was like 40 years ago.
Yeah. Nacho Libre, one of my favorite movies ever.
Pretty much the pinnacle.
That's it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, fuck.
It's basically how it is, man.
Well, I don't I cannot relate to her. And like, does she get to pick who her VP is? Did we talk about that?
I mean, she would.
She gets.
I think it starts out. I think it starts out that way, but then at the next election cycle.
Well, the next election, right? So if she 25ths Joe, right?
It'd have to be right after that.
Right after the midterms. Pelosi would be the VP.
For the next 2 years, I guess, right? Because she's the speaker is the next person, right? I mean, you got a laptop here, man. What do you look up? Who's gonna be Kamala's VP?
I bet you if I hold on here, I'm gonna put it in Google, right? If Kamala becomes president,
Who would be the VP?
who is the VP? All right, so the fact check is
Kamala isn't gonna 25th, Joe.
yeah.
Snopes says it, so we're good.
The speaker would not assume the role.
No?
No. The speaker would only become president if I think both the vice president and the president die.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like some designated survivor type stuff.
I couldn't even tell you, man. Like we're in a position right now where we go from here. Like we can only go up. Hopefully, it can only get better. Because how long has he been in? Like a year? A little over a year? 13,
Year
14
and,
months? Something
year
like
and, yeah, 2 or 3 months, yeah. So, yeah,
that. You know
14,
how much
15
he's
months.
fucked up?
Right away, dude. Like first day in office,
Yeah,
man.
he just started fucking canceling executive orders and shit.
Killing me, man.
Yeah.
But people don't care. People
Nah.
forget. If it runs out of the news cycle, dude, then people stop caring.
Well, how is Fauci still around? He was around during Trump. How the fuck? He just filed like a law, or he just said like the courts aren't allowed to like override the CDC or some shit like that, or the courts should override something about
Really?
that. Yeah, well, American Airlines or some of the airlines were saying they weren't going to lift the mask mandates on the airplane.
Yeah.
And I think that a federal Florida judge was like, no, you're lifting that shit.
Yeah.
Right? You have no right to keep these people on that. Like, only in special circumstances, if you're, foreign travel or whatever, those masks can stay on. But like for normal domestic travel, if the masks aren't required anywhere outside of the airport, why would they be required inside the airport?
Mm-hmm.
It makes zero sense, right? So the federal judge was like, no. And so like mid-flight, people were taking their masks off, and now Delta's no-fly list. People that were violating the mask mandate,
Yeah.
they're now allowed to fly.
Really?
Again on Delta, yeah. Right. Which brings me to my other current event, is that Mike Tyson beat the shit out of someone on an airplane yesterday.
Oh, I heard something about it. I didn't hear the whole story.
Yeah, so the guy was like messing. Mike Tyson was he's pretty cool with them, but then this guy was just like fucking messing with him. He was sitting right behind him and was like poking his head and messing with him and shit. And Tyson just turned around and beat the fucking shit out of him. And the guy was like all fucked up, like his face was bloody and shit. And then like went about his trip and then landed in fucking Florida and had the time of his life. And nobody's talking about charges or nothing like that. Well, because the guy had it coming to him.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was like, yo, don't do that. Don't do that. And the guy was just being
The bear,
a fucking
man.
asshole, man. Right? Dude, he's fucking Mike Tyson, bro. I don't care how old he is. He's gonna fuck you up. Iron Mike.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, would you poke Iron Mike's head on an airplane? And you're a pretty big guy. No? You don't think you can hang with Iron Mike?
Honestly, like, if you're picking fights, man, you're already off to a bad start. Like, don't pick a fight, man.
It's not worth it.
You're not. It's like, if you're looking for fights, man, you're already in the wrong field.
Right.
You need to rethink your life because
Yeah.
it ain't gonna end pretty.
So I had a question that one of my guests, I told him I was having you on
Mm-hmm.
with conspiracy theories. He wanted me to ask you if you believe that we've been to the moon.
Oh yeah,
You think so?
I do. I do. I don't think that we haven't been to the moon. I mean, looking at the fact that we have satellites in space, we send rockets in space. I mean, why couldn't we? You know, I mean, I don't see a reason why not to believe it. I mean, like, I think that going to space, maybe, like, you know, there's theories that, like, going to space was, like, covering other things that were going on, you know, trying to take attention away. And maybe to some extent it was. But, I mean, you know, we've watched rockets go into space. Like, you can see it happening.
Yeah.
You know, so who's not to believe that a person couldn't be on it and go to the moon? I mean, I know 60 years ago, you know, I mean, God, my grandfather had cars in the 70s and 80s that had, you know, detectors in them to turn off your high beams automatically, or rain would hit and it would turn the wipers on. You know, I mean, like, it's not like we had no technology 60 years ago.
Like, you know, start fires. And stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like we weren't in the Stone Age 60 years ago.
Right.
You know, but we don't have, like, I was listening to someone was actually just talking about this the other day. Wow, it's amazing that you asked that, because I was listening to someone talking about this, and they were saying it's like, you know, people who say that we haven't been to the moon, they're like, well, there's no, the notes, the diagrams are imperfect, and it's like, yeah, well, think about how things were getting done at that time. You had your basic diagram. Now, as they were putting that into effect, they were like, oh, I should change this because this will actually work better. And they would write memos and notes. But those notes and those memos got discarded. They weren't the building plans. So, like, things that would have changed the plans to make it reasonable and figurable is because those notes were thrown out. We didn't have a computer. There was no email. We weren't emailing. We were writing notes on paper or typing them and handing them over between offices, or it was word of mouth. I mean, like, that's how things were, you know? So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, and even if it was, what does it matter? Like that's the one thing I say, even about all the stuff going on now. Like, unless it's affecting my life, I just don't even want to hear about it half the time. That's part of why, like, I'm happy not to have TV. You know, it's like, it's like if you watch the news, we're in the middle of a deadly pandemic. But if you step outside, you turn off the news, what's different about today than it was yesterday? You know, I mean, I still go outside and I can throw the tennis ball with the dog. You know, I still have a phone in my pocket.
Right.
I still have a roof over my head. Groceries are more expensive, but I can still buy groceries, you know, and I'm still able to eat. So, like, we're not third world.
No,
we're not all dying.
I don't think that we're anywhere near third world. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
You know, I want to live my life. That the American dream is to be able to live the life you want to live, right?
Right.
You know?
Right.
So that's all I'm trying to do. I'm like, just let me live my life. I don't want to go to war with the government. I don't want to overthrow the government. I just want to live my life. Leave me alone.
Right.
Stop charging me 50% of taxes,
y'all
brother.
keep stepping on my yard. You know what I'm saying? Y'all keep coming to my property.
Look at me like Mike Tyson, man.
Right.
You keep stepping on me.
I'm gonna turn around and fucking punch you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right?
That's not me being an extremist.
Yeah, no, I don't think we've been doing it.
No?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. I've seen the crafts that they were sending into space, and I don't believe that shit would have survived the radiation belt or a slingshot maneuver around a rock millions of miles away, right? I just don't believe that it happened.
I mean, to each their own. And honestly, like I said,
but
it's it doesn't make a difference
but
to me.
Right, but to your point, who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
I don't think they've been there. What do you think of? What's your take on, like, aliens?
Well, I mean, as you know, I'm a Christian, and you know, one thing that is an interesting thought is more along the spiritual sense that, you know, if you go back to Genesis, you know, when God threw a third of the host of angels out of heaven with Satan, you know. It was they say there was like the Nephilim people, which is apparently like what the giants were, right? So, there's like a lot of theories that it could be more like aliens are more, I don't want to say angels, but like, more like demons or something like that. I don't really care either way, I mean, my grandfather, I bring up my grandfather a lot because he's 77 years old, lived a whole lot of life. And he's got experiences that, like, I couldn't prove them true or not. But, like, the things that he tells me, like, he said he grew up in Jackson, and he always has stories of things that, like, didn't make sense, like he was like, or like he said he saw a saucer, like, and he saw two people, a man and a woman, in silver suits that were walking through the woods, and stopped and stared at them, and they were down in this gravel pit where Thiokol Chemical used to dump chemicals. Thiokol Chemical responsible for the Challenger explosion.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah, but they used to, and there's documented evidence that these were dumping sites for like rocket fuel waste and stuff like that. So there was tons of like stuff like that. But he saw two men in silver, or a man and a woman in silver suits with like funky looking hair, and he said they all chased after him, and they just like walked away, and all of a sudden they were gone. They couldn't find him. He said their steps in the sand, because it was like sand up top, just like disappeared. And he was like, oh, we never understood it. We just
by Jackson.
Yeah,
You saw that?
out in Jackson. Yeah.
That story would have made sense around here over by Ong's Hat. Have you ever heard of Ong's Hat?
I've heard of it, but I've never been out there. You talking about like Tabernacle?
No, like it's in Pemberton.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know where Magnolia Road meets up with the circle there? Mm-hmm. There's a Turkey Buzzard Trail right there, and it's Ong's Hat Trail.
Oh, yeah.
They say back in the day that, part of Ong's Hat was there was a group of people out there running experiments on dimensional travel, right? And it's sand pity, gravel pity area out there, but he said that, the internet says that they were the egg, right? So if you look up the egg in Ong's Hat, that the government went out there to try and catch them because they were using technology they stole from the military base or some shit like that. Yeah, and they were like traveling interdimensionally, in this egg, and to this day you'll still see them. Like they'll travel back to like gather supplies and then travel back to the dimension, which is like here right now. If we jumped in the egg, we would jump in the egg, travel to the other dimension, which would be here. But
like a different universe.
Just a different...
Like an alternate.
Right, yeah, alternate timeline, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that's fucking crazy. So there's a lot of weird stories about it. Like that. But there have been things being seen, like alien-wise.
I can't explain the lights in the sky and stuff that we see a lot of times.
You know what?
They don't look like normal flight patterns and stuff like that.
I think we're working on some shit, right? In certain places, we are working on technology. I mean, we're trying to evolve and advance, obviously, in the next stealth craft. I'm sure when the SR-71 fucking Blackbird was out there traveling fucking hypersonic, people are like, no way, there's nothing that moves that fast. It has to be fucking alien. Nothing moves that quick. But I think we're working on some shit. But then, like, I don't know, man. I think there's got to be something out there. I was raised a Catholic, so the way I was raised, there was like super Old Testament.
Yeah.
There were like none of this New Testament bullshit, right? So like they were like super strict about everything. But I believe in evolution, and I believe in the universe is awfully big for us to be it, right? But there could be other us's out there that are like sitting back, like wondering what the lights in the sky are,
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, who's to say? Like, my beliefs stick with what I can read out of the scripture, and the nice thing is that there is more than just the scripture that proves the scripture. There are historians from the day that can document things that happen. I mean, like for the longest time, we had no proof of Pontius Pilate even existing, right? Mm-hmm. But then we found a goblet with his name on it,
right?
So, I do trust the scripture with my whole heart.
Yeah.
But that is a faith-based thing,
right?
Like
what
I
about,
can't.
They found Noah's Ark in like the Himalayas or something.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you ever look at like a satellite image of that, it's this right size, it's the right shape. It's just like it's an impression in the ground,
right?
Is what you're seeing.
Yeah.
The wood is gonna rot.
Yeah.
But and we're talking about what was it like 2,500 years ago? So yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
100%.
2,500.
And it's in the right spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Why do you find seashells, in the middle of, the country? Why?
It's underwater.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So who's to say? You know what I mean? I mean, like, it's like I remember I was in a debate class, or not a debate class, it was actually an ethics class, but it really turned into a debate class.
Yeah.
I remember I was always arguing with this one woman in the class, but she was very big into evolution and very big into like the animal activist stuff. Like I remember she was having an argument with me about like dolphins or something. She was like, dolphins are super important. I was like, I'm not saying that they're not. I was like, but like humans are more important. I'm sorry, but like we're the most advanced creatures on the planet. That we know of at least.
Right.
I was like, a dolphin is not gonna save my family from a burning building. Another human is gonna do that.
Right.
We had not that these people like the stuff like that. Like it was always arguments. I was always playing devil's advocate, but now I forget where I was going with that.
That's crazy. The fucking dolphins came and mind fucked you just now.
I know, for real.
Evolution.
Yeah, we were talking. I know. Why can't I think of it? I totally lost it. It was like in there and it's gone now.
No, it's gone. It's called old age.
We'll go back to it.
Yeah,
we'll go back.
It's called old age.
Yeah,
son.
I know. I'm feeling it, man. I'm feeling it.
Every day. Yeah, it's old age and this fucking weather.
Yeah.
Allergies.
Dude, my allergies are killing me. I don't know if you can hear me, but like, so nasally. I've got like the worst, like, oh my God. I've been like fighting it all day. Like, I was like, oh, come on, not today.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, it's going to be nice. It's going to have to be a real nice weekend.
Better be.
Yeah.
Make it worth it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, man. So, just the world, man. The world in general right now is just crazy. So there's a lot of questions out there about because I don't want to forget that before Trump, everyone was talking about, Bob Lazar and Joe Rogan, or even when Trump was the president, people were talking. You know who Bob Lazar is?
I don't.
The guy said he worked at Area 51, Area S1 at Area 51.
Okay.
And worked on an alien craft. Yeah, I don't want to forget about all that, and I don't want to forget about a lot of the conspiracies that we had. The Earth is flat, the Earth is round, right? It is. There's great talking points. I actually got a big argument with a guy on PlayStation playing Call of Duty.
Oh, really?
Because he was like, "The Earth's fucking flat, bro," and I'm like, "Dude, stop."
Was he being serious or was he messing with you?
100% serious. Like,
really?
He found me on Instagram and sent me like a whole bunch of like fucking PDFs and like fucking crazy shit. Like,
really?
Trying to prove to me that the Earth is flat. I'm like, all right, bro.
Like, you ever been to the beach?
Yeah, they said the same thing to Galileo. They said the same shit. Earth's flat, bro.
He was like, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that.
I remember what I was thinking of. My argument with this woman was, she was arguing with evolution, and she was saying, she was like, her argument was like denying the existence of God, right? And I was like, okay. I was like, so tell me this. I was like, you say you believe in evolution, you believe in dinosaurs and everything, right? You've seen the fossils and all this, and you believe that there were giant bugs the size of cars, right? She was like, yep. I was like, but you couldn't believe in God. Like, you believe in giant bugs, but not God. Like, you don't even think it's possible.
Right.
But you believe in giant bugs, you know, and all this other stuff. I was like, just because, I mean, like, you didn't dig the bones up.
Yeah.
Did you? You know? I was like,
how do you know who put them bones?
How do we know?
Yeah.
You know, George Washington didn't even know dinosaurs existed.
Right.
He died before the first one was discovered.
Mm-hmm.
He died not knowing that dinosaurs existed.
Right, before him. Yeah. That's crazy.
And that was not that long ago.
No.
In the grand scheme of it all, it was not that long ago.
You're absolutely right.
You know, so,
Absolutely.
I mean, to say that, you know, there's no doubt, you know, that's why, like, you know, it's the same thing with conspiracy theories, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Illuminati John here. Like,
Yeah.
like, it's, if you can't believe that anything besides what you hear on the news, on the internet,
Right.
is possible,
Yeah.
then you're fooling yourself.
Yeah. Well, listen, there's some fucking outrageous ass shit
Oh, yeah.
out there. I think when we try to explain everything, that's when things start going fucking left field.
Yeah.
I think there are things that are obvious to explain, and then there are things that are just not so obvious. And there might be 2, 3, 4 reasons for it, which are now considered conspiracy theories when it's not the most popular one that's adopted.
Yeah.
And that's another term that's been thrown around a lot, conspiracy. You know, back in the day, conspiracy, those were taken very seriously, right?
For sure. I mean, witch
The word
trials,
conspiracy,
man.
yeah.
Like, everything.
You know, now it's thrown around as a unpopular opinion, is
Yeah.
a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
You're a conspiracy theorist because you believe something that's not popular.
Well, that's gaslighting.
Opinion.
That is textbook gaslighting.
I apologize. I don't mean to gaslight you.
No, you're not.
Oh.
No, I'm saying it's textbook gaslighting
yeah,
when
yeah,
you
yeah,
say
right.
that, you know, if you don't believe what I believe, then, you know, you're crazy.
Right,
You're
right.
a crazy person.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so I just that's why I don't talk to a lot of people either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless we're in like a controlled environment, that's when I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to go over all your secrets, man.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. So, yeah, man. So, listen, I appreciate you coming out.
Thanks for having me, man.
And
I had a lot of fun.
I love having these like little rants, you know, where I can just sit back and just talk shit about the state of the world.
Yeah.
You know, it is a difficult time we're in right now.
So let me ask you a question,
Yeah,
Mike.
sure.
Where do you think we go from here?
We can't. I don't think it can get any worse.
But will it get better? I mean, it could definitely get
I want
worse.
to be optimistic. I really do want to be. I only want good things for the president. I only want good things for the country.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that he's got the wrong people in his ear. Because he does rely heavily on the people in his cabinet.
I mean, just so you know, it definitely could get worse. Like,
Yeah, but I don't want to think that.
I don't want to think it either, but it could.
He's got the wrong people talking to him. The moves he's making are not like logical moves, right? I would not open the border up and end Title 42 and then still talk about COVID being an issue. I would not open up the border and then talk about how crime is still an issue. I would not open up the border and give these people cell phones, right? How much is it costing the American people every month on these cell phone bills they're given to these migrants in hopes that they're going to show up for a court date? This is the thing. If you brought over 10,000 immigrants, just one, you just take one pool of 10,000 people, and you just said, hey, all right, you have court on this day, make sure you're there. How many of those 10,000 people you think are going to show up? I think conservatively, 3%.
Yeah.
Maybe. But the United States is huge. You think they're all going to stick around there in fucking Laredo, Texas?
Definitely.
When they cross the border, they're going to fucking scatter like rats. And now with the policies or the non-policies of fucking crime and gun control and fucking, you know, people are going to get arrested and they're like, oh, fucking lady in Brooklyn just got chopped up by a fucking illegal immigrant gardener that was sleeping with this lady. Chopped her up, put her in a duffel bag. They got him on surveillance camera, dragging the duffel bag out like he murdered this lady. He's here illegally, right? What the fuck? Unless you're going to fucking like take one of them fucking air shots and just a tracking chip into each one, don't let them in.
Yeah.
Right? You're not COVID testing anybody when they come in, then I don't want to fucking hear about COVID.
Yeah.
If you're not going to COVID every motherfucker that crosses the Rio Grande, I don't want to hear about COVID.
Yeah.
Right?
I hear you.
If you're just going to give bailout willy-nilly to anybody who commits a crime, what's going to stop them from committing a crime?
Well, it's not about that. It's just about the votes.
But
I mean, the votes that shouldn't be there, but the votes nonetheless.
Well, and the problem is like, oh, we want to give them an opportunity, and we want to give them a chance, and
they do have an opportunity.
Yeah, but you're giving them more opportunity to commit more crime.
Yeah.
If I don't spank my son's ass when he does something he's not supposed to do, he's gonna keep doing it. Mm-hmm. You gotta spank these fucking people.
Spare the rod, spoil the child.
I was locked up, John. You know this. I was locked up with some of the worst fucking human beings imaginable. Mm-hmm. And the only thing these people respond to is violence. Mm-hmm. You gotta smack the shit out of them. And then they'll listen to you.
Yeah.
That's it. So, and some of them need a fucking, they need to have their asses spanked. No one's disciplining anymore.
Yeah.
There's no respect anymore. And there's no traditional anything anymore. Everything is non-traditional. Yeah. Everything is non-traditional. Non-traditional relationships. I have to have this talk with my daughter because she's 17, and I'm not naive to the fact that at some point her and her fucking asshole boyfriend are going to be doing shit that I don't approve of. Mm-hmm. Right? But we got to be smart. You know what I mean? If you're not consistently taking your birth control, then you shouldn't be doing things. You don't know what consequences
That's
are.
the problem. Like, kids aren't responsible. Like,
they have no idea. They have no fathom what consequences
we thought we were, but like looking back, man, I was a punk.
I was I still to this day call my mom once a week to apologize. Right? I was a fucking asshole. But I can tell you this: when I was my daughter's age, I had 2 jobs. Yeah. Right? I was paying my own way, and I was getting ready to join the military. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When I was my daughter's age, right now. I cannot even imagine if my daughter packed up tonight and moved and joined the military. I couldn't imagine it. She's not ready. No. She's not ready.
It would make her ready, though.
No, it wouldn't, because the military's not like it was before. Military beat my ass, bro. Broke me down and built me back up. Now it's a very kinder, gentler military. They're not allowed to make you do push-ups anymore. They're not allowed to smoke you or discipline you. Now you write papers. I will not talk back to my trust.
Really?
I will not talk back to my trust. Yes.
Jesus. I didn't see. I mean, as someone who's not in it.
Yeah, the standards have been laxed, bro. Right? And I'm glad we're not going to war. You imagine some of these fucking people we got going to war now are pussies, bro. Everybody laughs at us, bro. Yeah. All the other countries laugh at us because America has definitely created some fucking pussies.
China, meanwhile, is encouraging masculinity, or it was. Remember, it was like in the days, it was like they were having manly tournaments, and meanwhile, we're creating a bunch of, excuse my language, a bunch of pansies.
Yes. Yes. There's a bunch of fucking pansies. They're gonna start issuing pink rifles soon, bro.
Dude, for real.
It's ridiculous, man. And listen, there were pussies.
Just give them mace. Yeah, send them over first line. And then we'll get the real men out,
Pepper spray,
go to work.
Card that says, I
identify as O negative.
Right. It's ridiculous. There were pussies also when I was in the military, but it's crazy the direction the military is going now. There's some hard motherfuckers in the military now too. I don't want everybody to think that I'm bashing the military. I'm not bashing the military. I'm saying that the leadership in charge of the military now are a bunch of fucking pussies. Yeah. Right?
I mean, dude, I used to like keep social media on my phone. I really got rid of like everything.
Yeah.
Just because I started to get like aggravated, and I didn't want to be a guy who was getting in arguments online. Because
I troll.
Do you? See, I couldn't do it because I was like, if I did it, I would actually get upset if I did.
Would you?
Yeah, because I would be like, I see some of the stupid things that people talk about, and the stupid things going on in the world, and like it's hard not to talk, and say like, come on.
Right.
But like, I got rid of it because I was starting to see stuff like our own like military, like social media, like the U.S. Navy, like they're going, and they're just going the way of the agenda today, like the way of the politics, like keep politics out of it.
Did you see that video I posted on my Facebook? Maybe it was before you got rid of it. It was the Chinese army recruiting commercial. And it was like fucking hardcore, man. I mean, like coming out of the water with their guns.
Oh yeah,
blowing shit up. You know what I mean? Like, like yes.
You wanted to join?
Yes, I want to fucking join the Chinese military doing that shit. And then it showed the United States Army commercial, and it's this girl is being raised, and she's being raised super nice and gentle. And she comes out to her parents, and she's a lesbian, and her biracial parents. White man with a black woman, and
yeah,
they're so proud of her, and they're in the Midwest, and they're upper middle class, and she joins the military.
Wow, there's a lot of there's a lot going on in that commercial.
It's like a Hallmark fucking thing,
yeah.
Right? And at the end, but he didn't know what the commercial was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end it was like, United States Army. Yeah. I was like,
congratulations.
I was like, what the fuck?
It's a new military.
I can't anymore.
Does that get to you at all? Like being former Army, like that, looking at today's Army, you're just like, where did we go wrong?
It's not going to affect it. I'm going to probably be more upset with it maybe in like 10, 15, 20 years from now.
Yeah.
When people are like look down on you because you were in the military because they were a bunch of fucking pussies, like they look at you like you're a fucking pussy. Oh, you were in the Army? Fucking pussy. Not knowing that I could drill a fucking dime with a fucking 300 Win Mag.
That's a conspiracy.
It was not legal tender when I did it.
Yeah. It was not.
No.
Decommissioned.
Yeah.
Maybe we decommissioned it. I don't know.
I do not have proof. I don't know, man. I feel like we can do better.
Yeah.
And I feel like there needs to be a complete 100% haulover of all the people in charge.
Yeah.
And they need to really think about what the ramifications are going to be 10, 15, 20 years from now versus right now.
But see, I don't think that that's going to happen with things the way they are. Like, no. I think that in order for that to happen, as sad as it sounds, I can't see it happening unless things got worse. I can't see.
Midterms, the Democrats are going to lose ridiculously bad. There are more Republicans in Congress than Democrats, and more Republicans in the Senate and Democrats, and things are just going to get passed.
Do you still have, here's a conspiracy theory, do you still have faith in the election system, in the voting system?
I think that if we don't go back to mail-in voting, I will.
Yeah, I agree. In-person voting.
The 2:30 a.m.,
random
400,000 ballots showing up was, it was just the right number that they needed.
The fact that they didn't investigate it shows me that obviously there's something, because they would have investigated it if for nothing else to prove it false. Mm-hmm. They didn't take the case on.
They said they investigated it, and it's not the federal job to investigate it. It's that station's job to investigate it. And if they only had Democrats in there that were taping up the windows, by the way, so that the Republican, auditors weren't allowed to look in there.
Yeah.
Or the poll watchers weren't allowed to look inside the windows inside the polling station when this was happening. That sounds fishy to me.
I agree, man. I agree. That's why, if you're gonna do mail-in voting, mm-hmm. First of all, it was always supposed to be a as needed thing.
Right.
For people that needed it, they couldn't physically get to the polls. But
I get with the pandemic though, right? People felt like that was the only safe way to do it.
Sure.
Sure.
I didn't want to. I took my freaking mail-in ballot as close as I could to being
I
counted.
got 3 of them for me.
Did you?
I got 3 mail-in ballots.
See, I only got the one, but when I dropped mine off, I went to the township, I handed it to him. Corinne and I went and got dinner, and we didn't eat out. We picked up, because you couldn't.
Right. Takeout.
And we picked up some takeout. We came home, all this span in the course of 45 minutes. We turned on our TV. We had the streaming, I think Peacock it's called.
Yeah.
And they called the election in New Jersey. I was like, really? Wow. They really counted that fast, huh? Bull.
Bullshit.
Yeah, get out of here. Like, you called it when you were ready to call it. And don't tell me all the votes were in, or enough of them to know for sure.
Right.
That's why it's just, there was election fraud all the way back, dude. People stuffing boxes. Come on. There can be fraud everywhere, but at least I can have a little more trust with in-person voting. At least I felt like there was.
I think that's more secure.
Yeah.
Because you actually know who's coming to vote. Mm-hmm. You have to show their fucking ID. I still have to show my ID when I vote. Do you not have to show your ID
don't.
when you
It's
vote?
actually in New Jersey they can't require you to show it. When I went to vote in what was it, for governor,
for Murphy.
Yeah, when I went and voted for Murphy. Yep.
Yeah, when you went,
exactly.
Of course you voted for
Oh
Murphy.
yeah, big fan,
asshole.
big fan. Yep. Yeah. Oh, my favorite guy in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But they just asked who I was.
Yeah, and at Springfield,
Mm-hmm.
the voting station there, because there's 2 Michael Castros in the township.
Really?
Yeah, one don't live too far from me. They had me show my ID.
Just to see.
I guess which one it is, but I gotta show my ID every time I go in.
That's probably the only reason, because in New Jersey it's not supposed to be allowed.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to tell them that next time. Look,
Yeah.
I'm both.
Yeah, I want it.
I'm gonna come back.
I identify
I'm
as
gonna
both.
I'm gonna just comb my hair and come back and be like, oh, I'm the other Michael.
Let's do a side part.
That's it. It's right down
There you go. Flip your hat backwards.
K-pop.
There you go.
Yeah, that'll be the way to go from now on.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. All right, I think we're gonna wrap. It's 2 hours, bro. That's how fast
It did. It went fast.
Well, I told you it was gonna go by quick.
It was good though. I'll be honest. I was nervous, but like.
Why? Just having a conversation.
I don't know, man. Like it's like I think the microphone. Thinking about the microphone, I was like, I'm a talker.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I brought you on. I know we could fill the time up.
But yeah, I guess like once we got started, it was nice. It was just like, I like it.
It's smooth. It's smooth sailing, man. But
hope to be back on again one day.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
All right.
But thank you, Mike.
Absolutely, brother.
Thanks, brother.
Get awkward under the mic.
Under the mic.
I don't know what to do with my hand.